Did you know that we have channel memberships now? If you'd like to help support this channel, get some exclusive Kawabana emotes to use in the comments, as well as an exclusive badge by your name, click that join button now to find out more. Every bit of support really helps. Thanks guys. To celebrate the release of my new book, and you can find the link for that in the comments, let's head all the way back to the Meiji era again this week for an interesting little tale. Do you ever sit and wonder, for example, who was the first person to ever rob a train? Who was the first person to hold up a bank using a gun? Well, at least in Japan, we know exactly who the first person to ever use a pistol to commit armed robberies was. A man by the name of Shimizu Sadakichi. This is Japan's first pistol robber. Starting in 1882 and spanning a period of 4 years, Tokyo saw over 80 armed robberies take place, in which 5 people were killed and many more injured. Clearly, there was someone, or someones, very skilled at work here, and despite the police's best efforts, over 4 years later, they still hadn't caught the culprit. Or culprits. Who on earth was robbing all these people, and why hadn't the police caught up with them yet? Let's go back a little further, all the way back to 1837. On September 12, 1837, Shimizu Sadakichi was born in what is now Higashi Ueno, Tokyo. He took up a career as a masseuse as he got older, but it was in crime that he found his real passion. He was proficient with various weapons, such as swords and spears, and trained in jujitsu, so he could handle himself just fine when push came to shove. Shimizu spent much of his life committing small crimes, but it wasn't until his mid-40s that he struck upon an idea. Shimizu happened to come upon a pistol with 59 rounds of live ammunition. How he came into possession of this gun is unknown, but he found it and he decided it was time to put it to use. He was about to become Japan's first armed robber. Over the next 4 years, Shimizu committed robbery after robbery, hiding his identity behind a simple mask and, ultimately, killing 5 people. He then used his job as a masseuse to hide himself from police, pretending to be blind and doing his best to make his way through the world as a blind masseuse to avoid attention. And, for 4 years, it worked. After all, if someone is committing armed robberies and killing people with a pistol, it's not likely to be the local blind and aging masseuse, is it? The fact that this was the first time a pistol was used to commit robberies in Japan shook the capital, and 4 years later, police still hadn't caught the culprit. The people were scared, and they were clamoring for an arrest. How many more people had to die? But Shimizu's string of luck was finally about to end. On December 3rd, 1886, Shimizu broke into an Edo woodprint shop at around 5 AM for a spot of thievery. Okajima Chojiro, the store owner, fought back, and in the resulting scuffle was injured, taking a bullet to the right thigh. Shimizu, however, was shocked by the loud sound of the pistol in the early hours of the morning and, fearing that people would soon flock the store, fled empty-handed. But his morning was about to get a whole lot worse. Officer Ogawa Takichiro of the Hisamatsu police station soon received news of a nearby attempted robbery and set out immediately to investigate. On the way, he happened across a middle-aged man in a masseuse outfit who was shuffling away quite quickly and, to his trained eyes, acting rather suspiciously. Officer Ogawa asked the man to stop, and he did. But the officer noticed that this man wearing a masseuse outfit refused to take his right hand out of his pocket. Even more suspicious. "Take your hand out of your pocket," the officer commanded. Knowing the jig was up, Shimizu did as instructed, slashing at the officer with the dagger he had hidden in there. Ogawa was able to dodge the first slash, but when he grabbed for the weapon, he took a deep cut to his left hand. Some reports also claimed he was stabbed 2 or 3 times in the chest. Realizing he was about to be overpowered, Shimizu let go of the knife and instead grabbed his pistol, firing wildly and hitting Ogawa. This was enough time for him to start running, and run he did, as fast as his legs would carry him. Despite the fact he was shot and nursing a deep cut to his hand, Officer Ogawa refused to give up and immediately set off after Shimizu, following him all the way to the Hamacho riverside before finally capturing him. 4 years later, the police finally had their man. They finally had Japan's first pistol robber, Shimizu Sadakichi, a masseuse just shy of 50. Although, they did not discover his real name until later, as he had been using an alias up until that point. For showing such bravery and skills on the job, Officer Ogawa was promoted to lieutenant, but unfortunately, he was never able to recover from his wounds. They got worse and worse, until on April 26, 1887, 4 months after he was injured, Ogawa passed away at the tender age of 24. His act of bravery in catching Japan's first pistol robber so moved the locals, however, that the bridge over Hamacho River was renamed to the Ogawa Bridge, which it's still called today. You can also find a stone monument at the entrance to Hisamatsu Children's Park that was erected on April 26, 1974, the same day Ogawa died, in his memory. It details Officer Ogawa's heroic efforts, ensuring that those in the area never forget what he did all those years ago, and the ultimate sacrifice he made in the line of duty. As for Shimizu, he was sentenced to death for his 4-year crime spree in which 6 people died, and on September 7th that same year, only days before his 50th birthday, he was executed by hanging. Shimizu's exploits were later turned into numerous theatre plays, and in 1899 was even made into Japan's first film drama, under the title Pistol Robber Shimizu Sadakichi. But what do you guys think of this one? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.